Hi everyone and welcome to my newest League of Legends games commentary. So in this video we will discuss the gameplay and the tactics that can be used to play Kassadin in a ranked solo queue. So for this game, as you can see, as I said, I will be playing Kassadin. This is a Twisted Fate solo mid. Oh, let me fix that a second. Okay. So I will be playing this is a Twisted Fate solo mid. So in this video I will basically continue elaborating on what I already discussed in my first heuristic video about Kassadin. I will not go in details about the basics of how to play Kassadin, just as just how his skill works, some minor tip. No, in this vid I will try to discuss a more advanced, more experienced approach for Kassadin. Because honestly, even though this champion is not a very mechanically hard to play champion, it is not the easiest one to master because it really relies on making good decisions and taking the right calls at the right moment for you and your team during the early game, during the mid game, and during the late game portion of this map. So now that I talked about the aspect I will go for this video, let's just take a few seconds to make a quick recap of what I said in my first video. In the case you didn't see it or do not remember what I said. I will be very brief, maybe just take 1 minute to be sure to not bore anyone, because I know that it's not really the most important thing, interesting thing, but still. So the passive of Kassadin is basically he gets magic resistance, a free 15% magic damage reduction for any spells. His first spell is a point and click nuke that silences the opponent. The second spell is basically unactivate. When it's on activation, you deal bonus magic damage with your melee attack. Oh, as you can see here, a Kassadin Alistar and some good reflex allows me to live through this. Because honestly, I don't think if he would have landed his combo I would have lived, because he would have stunned me and afterward pushed me in this direction, and since Kassadin, just as any other AP carry character, is very squishy, I would have easily died. So let's go back to the quick description. The third spell is basically for a cone attack, a cone spell that deals AoE damage. It deals a fairly decent burst, but it requires to be charged to be charged when you or an enemy or an ally cast a spell. It takes 6 charge to be able to use this ability. The final skill of Kassadin is basically a free flash on a 4 to 7 second cooldown, depending on the level and your cooldown reduction in your build mastery. And it's the ability that makes or breaks any good Kassadin. If you want to be good at it, you really need to learn how this ability works and what you can and can't do with it. So now that this is done, the basic build for Kassadin and just a basic build for Kassadin, is basically always get a death cap, and after that it's situational. But there's still some basic main path that I will try to present to you in this video, a new path maybe that you didn't see before, and I hope that you will find it as efficient as I did during my gameplay session. And that's about it for the recap. So now to the most advanced section of the presentation. So as you can see, League of Legends is a very complex game. League of Legends is not something where everything is predictable, and this randomness, especially in a solo queue environment where everyone is randomly matched up against each other makes games for a very chaotic scenario and very hard to effectively give a model that will, or if you wish, a guide that will enable every player to be better in every single possible situation. Oh, as you can see here, just a quick second, we tried to do a gank, but it fails since TF was here and Malphite was here, and I was pretty low on mana. Kassadin is very weak early game, but still. So, as you can see, so far all I'm trying to do is to farm up, and this is what I was going for. Is basically, since League of Legends is a very chaotic game, we have to make hypotheses if we want to be able to effectively give be able to do a rough model that would enable you to predict if what you can do to win your lane and stuff like that. This can be learned maybe if you're with a lot of experience, or if you have a very quick understanding of how such complex things can happen in a game, then maybe you can go around that. So the first step basically of this advanced method is to assess the lane against which you're going. So basically right now I'm in Kassadin. I know I'm not a strong laner. I'm in fact one of the weakest solo mid laner, basically because I don't have any gap closer, and I'm until level 6 and in no escape ability too, and I'm very squishy, and more than that, I don't have a very strong early game damage. And you can name a weakness and you can be sure that Kassadin has it. So TF, on the other hand, is not the worst matchup for a Kassadin player. It's maybe a fair matchup if you wish. Here I was afraid that it might have tried to kill me, but I have enough health to end my flash, so I should be okay. But TF is not a particularly bad matchup versus Kassadin. The reason why is because TF doesn't have a very high burst until he gets a lot of AP. He has some good sustain lane in the form that he can just spam his card and regenerate his mana with no problem. But the problem is that this TF player knows how to counter a Kassadin, and that is you harass the shit out of him. Yes, basically Kassadin in the early game is very, very weak, and after he gets level 6 he gets a little bit stronger because he's more resistant to gank. Here you can see I get ganked by TF, but my flash is able to get me out of this very bad situation. And so TF is very aggressive right now. Whenever he gets the chance, he tries to harass me with his blue card and try to prevent me to farm. And that's basically a very good tactica if you're laning versus Kassadin, is to basically try to shut him down in the laning phase. Basically, that's what every good solo mid player will try to do, and that's it. So as you can see, so far I'm maybe 15 CS behind, so TF is clearly winning the laning phase, and this is a reason why most people don't like Kassadin in the first place, is because he's so weak. But you have to understand that winning the laning phase is not a clear factor in winning or losing the game. It is one of the many factors that goes into the model of a League of Legends games, but it's not all defining. Like basically, if I would have to talk about Kassadin, I would say that when Riot designed him, they really they think the thought process was, let's make Kassadin very weak in the early game, and then let's make him scales really well into late game, even if it doesn't have a lot of farm. And how did they do that? That's something I learned with experience. It's basically, if you look at the basic numbers for Kassadin ability, that is, this is ability damage, and his raw combo, that is, you jump with your R on your opponent, you silence him to prevent any form of retaliation, and then you hit a force pulse before backing away. at the at the 15 to 25 minute mark, this damage is really strong. This is at the moment where where you as a player need to understand that you need to go aggressive if you were losing and if you were already winning, because even though Kassadin is one of the worst laner, his kit and basically the understanding of your character, of the limits of your character, can still make you win against some AP champion. Here I'm trying to make my lane presence felt. I really need that kill since TF is out farming me. Me and Malphite try to go in thinking she doesn't have a ward, and Rivet does a good job at baiting her, and Irelia now is in big trouble. And look at this. Basically, I'm not using my Ignite because I knew that the kill was secure. So I'm able to basically get the gold and experience I needed to basically start going back into that game. Because if I would have stayed passive and not tried to go for a gank, I would have surely been out farmed by the TF very quickly. And as you can see, in this game I'm not really doing well in the farm, if I remember. But still, I try to compensate by making the good calls and trying to gank the lanes as soon as I can to be able to secure as many kills as possible. Here Malphite is kindly giving me his blue. This is now a very common tactica to give the blue to the AP carry. It's particularly good on Kassadin because the blue allows you to spam your Rift Walk and to basically farm with your Null Sphere. Also, on the topic of farming, as you can see, I'm building a Chalice of Harmony. Why am I building this? Why am I not going straight for damage? This is basically, you can view it like that. Kassadin is really weak early game. If early game I try to build damage item when I'm not clearly winning the game, I will just get one shot by the other IP carry, or will get stronger into the mid game just as I am, maybe a little bit more or a little bit less, but basically most AP carry gets better in the mid game, and after that they tend to go more less impressive as the game goes on, and that's where the range carry takes the predominance, the domination, dominates the main source of damage in the team fight. So basically, if I go offensive early game and I had a bad laning phase because I was laning against a champion that basically counters mine, or the enemy AP carry is really better, knows what he's doing and is able to shut down my farming, then what are my options? Basically, as you can see, I try to do my best to farm with my Null Sphere, and I try to make my lane presence felt. Here in this game, in the early game, I was so far behind in farm that I didn't wanted to always run around trying to predict where TF was going, and this is frustrating my bot lane because TF will really get a lot of kills out of them. Here me and Malphite try to do a gank, a 3v1 gank, but I made the mistake of trying to run away while I should have just finished off TF. But still Malphite is able to do it. But if I would have finished TF, maybe you would have been able to get Ashe with the help of Tristana and maybe Blitzcrank. But basically, here Blitzcrank grabs him again. But basically, this is the sign that I'm not perfect. I think that I had enough HP to run away and live, but that was not the case. So this is. But it's great to make these videos because I'm able to look at my mistake and to basically think in my future game about my past mistakes to improve. So as I said, in the early game, if the enemy players know what he's doing or she's doing, basically she will shut down your farm. So when the mid game portion of the beginning of the mid game, maybe at the 15-20 minute marks happen, your Kassadin player will not do a lot of damage, maybe roughly the same amount of damage, but the enemy AP carries will basically be just strong enough to be able to win any straight one-on-one duel. As you can see, TF again ganking the bot lane, and I think that soon Tariq will tell me that I should really try to follow him up. But as I said, yeah, I think that my best bet was just to go to late game, where I will be able to carry these players with the help of maybe Malphite, who was really having a good game. As you can see, is 2-0-3, very solid performance. And Malphite is one of those strong late game character, because basically he's based around armor, and during the late game, what is the main source of damage? Physical damage. And apart from that, he has one of the best initiation move for any team fight in the game. So as you can see here, we try to gang, but there's still 3 of them. But I bail out. I hope, I don't remember if Malphite is okay, but yes, I think he is. But still, we decide to go for a kill. And here, as you can see, instead of trying to run, I tried to do a little bit of damage, but it was not enough to be able to get the kill. And as you can see right now, TF has a really strong score. Their Ashe player is doing also quite good on the kills. It's pretty much even. And the Irelia and the Riven player is pretty even. But yes, here you see I say I cannot follow TF unless I'm running around the map, because since he has a semi-global ult, it's really hard to predict where he will go. So now that this is why, so since you're weaker at the slightly weaker, I try to build Chalice of Harmony, because the magic resist enables me to survive the burst from the other AP carry, and also the extra mana regeneration early game is really key in enabling me to farm and to move around the map for a longer period of time, because these two concepts really requires a lot of mana, and Kassadin is really mana hungry. But the combination of a Chalice and my level 1 Netherblade is usually enough to be able to sustain me as long as I do not abuse. Oh, and by the way, I would like to share with you a basic rule of thumb about mana management in League of Legends. So basically, you can spam your spell and use your combo and utility abilities as much as you want, but our general rule of thumb is that if you are below 50% mana, it's much better to be really careful about how you use them, to be able to save your mana. So basically, if you're above 50% mana, always use ability as much as you want. But if you're below 50, play on the more careful side of the of your gameplay, to be sure that you always maximize your amount of mana, that you don't run in a critical fight during the game. So as you can see here, we catch Alistar, but since he popped his ult, we knew it was a bad idea, and TF right now is pretty strong. But as you can see, he built a Sheen and a Blasting one, so I'm not a very expert player on playing TF, but I think that if he built straight up that cap, he would have had much more damage, which would have resulted in much more easier gank in the top and the bot lane, so more kill and more gold. But still, I think he knows what he's doing. He's 5-1, he's really... But as you can see now, since I didn't run around like a fool trying to catch TF, and only went when I and try to not forget that the important factor is to farm up, I'm still very even with him. So the biggest difference right now is that he is 6-1, because he fed on the bot lane and on the top lane, and now that the mid game portion of his has arrived, he is really at his strongest point. And his role right now is to be able to make his top lane and bot lane secure kills, so that the transition into the late game will go much more smoother, and he will be able to carry his team in this way. So right now my plan was that, since I didn't win the early game, but this is something that almost every time I play Kassadin happen, unless I'm really laning against a character that can counter that I can counter, because yes, even though Kassadin, as I said, is a weak laner, one of the weakest, he can fare very well versus combo character like Rise, because his silence basically shut down their entire damage, and he is really good against caster that doesn't have any direct CC, because you can easily dodge with your movement speed boots all of their skill shot, especially if it's a slow skill shot. So these kind of champion is basically Cartus or maybe a Fizz or stuff like that. But I do not have a lot of experience. But I know that for sure that versus a Cartus player, as you can see here, I get stunned, and if I didn't add my Mercury Strut, I would have been dead like 100% of the time. That few seconds of time, and now Alistar save Malphite. Always funny when Alistar player misses their combo. And by the way, this is as always one of my ranked game. It's around the 50 ELO average. So basically, a lot of competent player that knows how to play their character, but still, Alistar his combo is one of the hardest thing to land. But so far he's doing an okay job about it. As you can see, TF is so fed right now. It's like 7-1. So, oh, a quick team fight here. I know I can follow up. So as you can see, I blink away, I kill her, and afterward, he foolishly try. But I know that Tristana is coming. So what do? We just stay there, and I really want to focus on TF. I want to shut him down, and as you can see, we're able to secure the shutdown, and that is really when the game starts to turn around, because I see a lot of time on the forum. I read a lot of time on the forum and with my friend and discussing with my friend or watching stream, where people rage because they're like 7-1 all game and then they die, and afterward that they're not able to secure the carrying of this. This is basically because when you're ahead like TF, and that means you're really ahead, it's if you die, if you make a mistake, let's say in your positionment, it will really be bad for your team, especially if you're the only one with kills. I didn't watch TF plays all of those team fights, but if he kill steal from, let's say, Irelia, yes, he will be stronger, but if we manage to kill him, their team will have basically no damage. And this is especially even more critical if you're kill stealing, if you wish, against a late game teammate like Irelia, when you're more like a mid game force like TF. So basically that's the moment we managed to shut down the TF was the moment where I realized that we would be able to win this game. We just have to group up, to play those strong team fights, and to be able to be more organized, and we should be able to go around this. But as you can see here, TF doing what every mid TF should do every time. The mid game arrive, he tries to secure kills for his top lane by making a gank at mid. But we managed to warn Riven thanks to, I think it's Malphite ward. This Malphite is really good, he knows what he's doing. As you can see, he's 3-0. But you have to realize that Malphite won't be able to carry us to victory, because in the late game team, in terms of damage, in terms of positioning, in terms of CC, he will be able. But if we do not do our job, that is me and Tristana, he won't be able to come if you wish, transform his really strong ganking and jungling presence into a victory. So as you can see here, we set her to bay, but whatever, she decided to stay. But Malphite and Taric are able to really easily follow this up with a big CC, and as you can see now, the strength of mid-game Kassadin. You're able to run down everyone. And then when I say everyone, it's everyone. They can say a kill here. Now TF is like, oh, I want some of that. And I'm like, okay. And now my team is fighting him, and look at this, boom! TF's dead. And now it's only Blitzcrank, and I'm like, okay, Blitzcrank. Oh god, no, Blitzcrank realized that he doesn't have any damage because he's a support and he's 0-4. Ash arrives a little bit late to the party, and we decide, hey, let's try to kill her. And I don't remember if we're able. No, she's smart and she runs down this way. So let's just not follow this up. As you can see, I'm really too low to try to risk it, especially since the problem with Alistar. Basically, Alistar jungle is really good if you manage to get to play against a noob team that will not realize that Alistar jungle will try to do a cheese gank early game. That is, what's a cheese gank? What's the definition of a cheese gank? Basically, a cheese gank is just you take your blue or your red and then your red, or like it's a gank at level 2 where you just catch someone completely off guard because he didn't expect an Alistar jungle to be there at this early in the laning phase, and so he gets caught, and after that he fell his splash and get killed. That's the definition of a cheese gank for Alistar. It can be compared to Lee Sin level 2 gank that were that were like the absolute norm. Oh, that riff walk too strong. The Lee Sin ganks at level 2 were basically you had Lee Sin or was always taking his red early, and here you can see where the big demonstration. I'm able to basically kill Ashe in like 2 combos. I go in, hit my R, silence E, smack her with my powerful sword of the Nether, and after that I follow up with another Rift Rock and then another Null Sphere. So basically, yes, the damage. The build, I stopped at the Mercury strat. So, and since I lost my early game, I decided to go for early defense. But afterward, I took 2 Doran Ring because they are very cost-effective item. Let's just watch this team fight quickly. I don't see the L bar, but I think that if I remember well, it goes pretty well because Riven and is a little bit stronger, and when Tristana arrives, it's basically GG. So basically, I decided after building my defense to go for Doran Ring because they give me a very good little boost of durability and damage. And afterward, I went for my Rabadon Dent Cap to get the really good burst that every AP carry needs to fill their role. And finally, right now, when you get to the mid-late game portion of the game, I highly recommend that you build a Zonia Hourglass. A Zonia Hourglass is not the easiest item to use. I often myself forgot to use it, but it is the most cost-efficient way to get durability for Kassadin, because basically, with your Zonia Hourglass in a team fight, you're able to jump in, use your EQ combo, and if they try to retaliate, just go invincible while your Whiff Rock is going off cooldown. And when it's off cooldown, then you have the opportunity to go away if you feel that you are in danger, or go against another target and continue attacking them, and maybe using your melee attack with your Nettle Blade, which deal a fairly good amount of damage. Many people forget that Kassadin melee attack scales with AP because of this ability. But if you want, playing Kassadin as a kind of bruiser, in the sense that you need to be in the thick of the fight, is really a fun way and a satisfying method if you want to feel strong and if you want to feel in control of the team fight and be just a dominating force. So basically right now the game is getting back in our favor. Why? Because basically Alistar is really not having a very good game. Look at his farm stat and his kills and assists. He did an okay job, but he didn't have the... Oh, here we catch Ashe with a good flash stun, and then we just one stunner, and then TF is like, oh, I was like so strong before, let's go in. But as you can see, even though it was at 1.71, right now we can't do nothing. And as you can see here, I get greedy. I see TF, oh, I want my silence, and I get stunned. The stuns. But still, Malphite is able to secure the kill. And then we do a little bit of a crazy dive, but since all those 3 characters have so much armor, they are able to tank like 2 towers shooting at them while they are smacking the enemy team. So the nice thing about before I didn't build Chalice of Harmony, because basically it was just an early game little trick, and for Night and Slot it was not very interesting. But now I have experience with upgrading this item into, let me show it to you, into the new item, the Athene Unholy Grail. So basically this item is really good at Kassadin, because since you're going around in fights, securing kills and basically doing your thing, you will always be able in the late game to get to sustain your mana, even though you're not building the standard let's say a Road of Phage for mana or not having a blue buff, because yes, having a blue buff all the time is ideal, but as any engineer will say to you, and maybe everyone else, but in a modelization aspect of it, you cannot assume the ideal. Always assume the worst, so that when the best happen, it will be alright. So Athene's Unholy Grail is really good because it palliates the fact that sometimes you will not have the blue buff for your mana, so you can sustain and never run in a fight, and also it gives you more resistance in the form of magic resist, and also it gives you ability power. So, and it's not that price, but that's it. So right now we are ahead in the game, but we didn't won. So we still have to basically go safer and try to be able to go for outer objective, maybe secure a gank here and there, and not try to go for a crazy dive. Right now I'm telling my team, let's go for TF. He's the most fed, not right now, but still he does a really good amount of damage, so let's try to go for him, and so to ensure that we win every team fight. So as you can see here, we're roaming in the jungle, trying to catch someone off guard and stuff like that. So here I don't think we will be able to get a gank. We try to send Tristana to farm the top lane and do a classic bait. This everyone knows this little trick, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work, because we know that their Blitzcrank is not having a good game, so they don't have ward control, and as you can see they don't, because they don't know we're here. They're trying to go by there, and their Blitzcrank is like, oh, we caught them off position. But did they? Look at how the fight will go. As you can see here, I'm disengaging, and now Aurelia is just going at me. I'm like, okay, Aurelia. And then I see TF is trying to do my combo, and what am I doing? Popping my Zonia. I disengage from the fight. After that, I kill Aurelia. TF is easily catch. I run away from both Ashe and Alistar, and just by using this careful positioning, I'm able to make the team, my team, win the game. So as you can see here, they decide to surrender. So I hope you enjoyed, and we will wrap this one up. So here you can see the final stat score. As you can see, even though TF had a really good mid game where he ganked both top and bot lane to get his kill, he wasn't able to convert this gold and experience advantage into a victory, because basically TF is not that good early game. Also, the last critical, there were some key team fight where I was able to show you how to use critical positioning to be able to use Kassadin to the advantage of your team. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and found it interesting. I will soon present to you another Kassadin video where I will we will discuss what happens when I get countered by a Riven mid, which is, in my opinion, the worst laning matchup anyone can hope to get versus a Kassadin. So I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you for your attention and see you soon.